Hello, and I'm now here to talk about Taylor Swift's new album that came out recently, um, 1989, and this is the deluxe edition. Um, so it was released October 27th of this year, 2014. A little chart information about it: it debuted at number one on the U.S. Billboard Hot 100. That's the Shake It Off single, by the way, not the whole album, but the song. It was released on the label Big Machine Records, and its singles were Shake It Off and Blank Space. And being that this is the deluxe edition, a little about this deluxe edition is that it has some extra. It has about 6 extra bonus tracks, 3 of which I will go over, but the other 3 bonus tracks are actually voice memos done by Taylor Swift herself, talking about like how like her entire songwriting process and like some of the demos that she did for certain songs on this album. So that's pretty cool. Aside from that, what also comes in the box is photos from Taylor. I don't know if you can really see that, but this is a package that comes with photos with captions done by Taylor Swift. So you probably can't see them very well on here, but you have a bunch of different photos. And it says stuff like this one says, "We were built to fall apart, then fall back together." So you have a bunch of those in this photo packet. And it's really cool too. So you get your money's worth. But anyways, let's get this review started. The first track is "Welcome to New York." This song starts with a strong amount of synthesized instrumentals, and keep that in mind because that is very important. With the whole synthesized instrumentals, which perfectly sets the tone for the rest of this experimental album. It's basically an anthem for none other than the city of New York, describing different things that goes down there and the emotions of it all. Pretty nice way to start out the album. Track number 2, Blank Space. Just like the previous song, the song starts with a drum machine beat and other synthesized instrumentals. Taylor sings about meeting a guy and how the relationship can either be really great or really, really bad, and how she knows how the game of love is played. A simple chord progression with a nice beat going on. It's kept, short and sweet, like most of the songs on this album. Track number 3, Style, opening with a synth guitar. This track has a very housey feel. Pounding bass makes this track perfect for a club scene. This track talks about Taylor's suspicions of her man cheating on her, but how they're both so good looking that they as a couple never go out of style. Although really, it's just a song about how a couple can never break up. Each has features that the other likes, and they can't get over each other. Track number 4, Out of the Woods. This track comes with with looping O's before Taylor comes in singing with another thumping bass behind her. The lyrics in the chorus especially are incredibly repetitive, basically asking, "Are we out of the woods yet?" and "Are we in the clear yet?" over and over again. It's basically about how fragile some relationships are, and how insecurities can get in the way. Track number 5, All You Had to Do Was Stay. A faint looping track starts this track out. It then bursts into a bunch of pop goodness, where Taylor sings "Stay" in her falsetto voice in the refrain. The title is quite self-explanatory, where it's about how a guy left Taylor but now wants her back, and Taylor's basically telling him that he should have stayed in the first place, and now it's too late. Track number 6, Shake It Off. The big hit of the album, interestingly enough, opens with some actual drum beats, as opposed to synthesized drum machines, as well as horns. It's got a great beat with a nice pop jazz feel. Kind of reminds me, personally, of like Janelle Monáe, Tightrope in particular. In this track, we see Taylor singing about shaking off all the haters and players in her life. So it's kept quite simple in that it has a pretty positive message, encouraging youth to not get down about people who are causing you trouble. Track number 7, I Wish You Would. Another track with a housey feel. This track sees more pulsating bass in the chorus, and the rhythmic pattern actually changes up a couple of times in this track. It talks about Taylor missing a guy, wishing they could make up after a rough breakup. Track number 8, Bad Blood. A track that starts off a cappella. It then brings in a drum track, with Taylor singing about yet another bad relationship, but this time, instead of wanting to make up, it has Taylor singing about how karma will catch up with a guy that jaded her, and how it's a song about You know, the anger she feels from what this guy did to her, how this problem is unsolvable, and how they do indeed have bad blood. Track number 9, Wildest Dreams, another song with a house feel and a thumping bass. This song talks about Taylor wanting a guy to remember her. From the sound of it, it appears as though there was another breakup, and Taylor doesn't want the guy to forget about her. Now, track number 10, How You Get the Girl. You know, it has a bit of an acoustic pop feel, especially in the beginning. But explodes in the chorus. We hear Taylor singing about how a guy is supposed to get a girl and how a guy lost a girl by neglecting her. I guess we can assume this story is about herself, but it has a nice pop feel and some acoustic guitar playing every now and then, adding some nice contrast to the song. Track number 11, This Love. As we come to our first slow song, and there aren't very many on this track, it has a beautiful blend of acoustic guitar and synthesizer, with Taylor singing in a nice, light voice. In the second verse, we have a thumping drum beat enter in as Taylor sings about how a love came back to her. So it's a tad different from than most of the other tracks on the album, and is much more solemn than the rest. It's probably one of my favorite tracks on this album, next to Shake It Off. Track number 12, I Know Places. This track has perhaps the most unique and coolest rhythmic pattern in the verses, setting it slightly more apart from the other tracks. In fact, the beat is almost hip-hop-ish in style. The song is about finding a place Taylor and the guy she's singing about where they can hide from the world and just be together. Track number 13, and this is the final track on the original album. Clean. The final official track opens with some marimba-sounding instrumentals, and it's rather somber in its tone. This track is This track is about getting over a guy, and in turn feeling clean. After an entire album full of breakups, makeups, etc., this track is almost symbolic in that it seems as though Taylor is waking up and becoming a new person after so much heartbreak. A very interesting way to end the album, I would say. And now we reach our 3 bonus tracks that, and this deluxe edition of the album was apparently only released in Target stores. That's where I got it. But there's 3 bonus tracks plus the 3 voice memos that I talked about in the beginning. But I won't go over those voice memos because they're not actual tracks. But I will go over these 3 bonus tracks. So track number 14, Wonderland. The first bonus track on this deluxe edition has Taylor singing about how she and a guy found their happy place, or Wonderland. The instrumentals behind it are typical pop instrumentals, so nothing super unique. It is rather heavy, however, and it starts out rather soft, so there's a nice contrast there. We come to track number 15 of the bonus tracks, You Are in Love. Another slow, somber track. This song tells a story about how the guy Taylor is in love with her, and she knows it without really him telling him even. It's a nice song filled with narrative, but the instrumentals are kind of bland, to be honest. Just synthesized orchestra with a drum track going, so nothing too unique either. And the final bonus track, track 16 of the entire album, New Romantics. With another basic pop rhythm feel, the track is about how romance is a roller coaster ride, basically, and how it's full of heartbreak, but also full of great moments. It's almost an anthem for typical relationships. It's nice and upbeat, but also not very unique. Overall, about this album, I feel it was inevitable that Taylor would go pop, as her music as of late, has become more pop than country, and this album especially brings that to full circle. For someone like Taylor Swift, this album is extremely experimental, and for anyone who enjoys pop, it's a great album, but nothing revolutionary. It's all typical pop, and a lot of the songs are about the same thing, basically. Taylor has said that she wanted to make an album celebrating all the pop music that was around during her birth year of 1989, but more or less, it just molds in with the rest of today's pop music. So nothing, too great. If you're looking for something really, really amazing or really, revolutionary in today's, pop music industry, then this isn't exactly the album that you're looking for. But it is a great album, and I would recommend it. It has some pretty nice songs. It's typical, Taylor Swift fare, but in a different way. But I do recommend the album, especially Shake It Off. That's a really nice song. So anyways, thank you for joining me in this album review. I hope you enjoyed it, and If you want me to do an album of your choice or song of your choice that you recommend, just leave a comment down below or visit my Facebook page, and you can tell me there. But anyways, thank you for watching, and so long.